Hello and welcome back to Zara Energy. Today we're discussing the finale of Neptune in Pisces. So Neptune retrograde will enter into Pisces 22nd of October, where it will remain until the 26th of January 2026, where Neptune direct will enter into Aries. Now, Neptune will go direct 10th of December 2025 in the sign of Pisces. So we're going to discuss Neptune in Pisces, what we've experienced since 2011 when Neptune first entered into Pisces, what we are completing during this time, because this is karmic. This is revelations. This is an end of an era. This is something you have been doing since 2011 that's been a part of your life. You are closing out a cycle and entering into a whole new era. Neptune in Aries in 2026. Now, we did have majority of 2025 with Neptune in Aries. So we know what to expect with Neptune in Aries. Okay, and I will discuss a bit about Neptune in Aries as well to prepare you for January 2026. Do watch for your sun, moon, and rising. Your rising sign is priority, sun sign secondary, and the moon sign, this is going to be more subconscious. Okay, it's your emotional well-being. Now, I want to state Neptune Pisces influence the mutable signs the most. Pisces is a mutable sign, so Pisces, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Gemini. So pay attention to where you have a mutable placement. Do you have your Venus in Pisces? Do you have your Mars in Virgo? As Neptune Pisces would have aspected your mutable placements within your natal chart over this period since 2011. Now, if you have later degrees of a mutable sign within your natal chart, pay attention to that, as this is where you would be influenced the most, as Neptune is closing out its cycle in Pisces. And I'm excited for this. Neptune in Pisces. This is our finale. This is our last hurrah, as they say. So that being said, Neptune is at home in Pisces. It's comfortable here. Neptune loves to be in Pisces. It amplifies the energy. Neptune is a planet of compassion, spirituality, enlightenment, as well as it is a planet of fantasy, dreams, creativity, imagination, intuition. And it does bring with it, due to the fact that it has intuition, creativity, fantasy, illusions, it blurs the boundaries. Neptune dissolves boundaries. Neptune is that energy that gives us no boundaries. It gives us this energy of awakening. This is our spiritual being. Think of not your physical body, but your consciousness, higher consciousness, soul. That's what Neptune is really connected to. So when we go through a Neptune experience, it can feel like things are falling away. It's dissolving this reality and taking you into another reality. So if you've gone through a sudden, and I want you to think back since 2011, okay, a sudden loss of a job, a sudden betrayal, your whole life had to change. And I know personally that Neptune in Pisces influenced me. When I sat back and thought about it, as Neptune was about to enter into Aries earlier this year, I was like, wow, the boundaries that dissolved, as it influenced me because Neptune was transiting my first house. The amount of boundaries from like my physical residence would just change. Like for some reason, I could not live there for whatever the reason it would have been at the time. I needed to move. So, or maybe that relationship would fall away and it would be sudden and I wouldn't see that person again. They were completely out of my reality. I was now in a whole new reality. And through that change, that loss, maybe that loss of place that I was at and now I couldn't live there and so forth, literally experienced a natural disaster with Neptune in Pisces. I remember it was in 2022, April 2022, 11th. And that was when we had Neptune Pisces conjunct Jupiter in Pisces. That night was a massive flood. And it literally flooded the entire home. My neighbor's place had fallen apart and fell into my place, and the car was backed up into the kitchen, and we had to literally escape. And that is the experience of Neptune. Neptune dissolves the boundaries. That night, I literally witnessed Neptune dissolve boundaries. It is the experience that is profound. It is the experience of intense emotion and intense water, the flow of water. Pisces is water, emotion, water, or literally even storms, disasters. That is the energy of it. It is supposed to and wants you to surrender to a higher power. When do we surrender to a higher power? We surrender to a higher power when your back is against the wall and there's nothing in front of you. Everything else is falling away from you. Whether it's a loss of a relationship, you went through a bad breakup and it created depression, or you fell ill, that is what it does. It dissolves the reality and the boundaries of that reality to take you to a place where you are isolated, Pisces, so you can now connect to something deeper, for your faith to be restored. And that night, mind you, even though it was a traumatic experience and major loss was incurred, I will tell you, I surrendered. Completely surrendered. I was like, I don't know where I'm going to go. I don't know where I'm going to be. This is a state of homelessness. And I promise you, within 24 hours, I was given assistance, a whole new place, dry. Yes, come stay here. It used to be an Airbnb that I wanted to absolutely go visit, but I didn't get the chance to. There I was, put up in that place. And then within a week, I was offered a whole new place to move into. Yes, by random strangers. And that's what it means to surrender, to trust, to have faith, to give your complete circumstance and literally say to a higher power, I don't know where I'm going, what's going to happen next, but I trust that there's going to be a way forward. I know there's going to be a way forward. That is it. That is Neptune's experience. Now, how did we experience this? And that's just me on a personal level, which I didn't think I was going to talk about, but I did. I would like to say on what did we see within the world? Entertainment, celebrities. You must know Neptune is fantasy. So movies, entertainment, glitz and glamour, sparkly things, influences, the rise of the spiritual guru. All of those things came to in our world. We were influenced by people. We were influenced by what we saw. Your screen is literally Neptune. It's where we get entertained. It's where people create illusions for you to watch, to enjoy. Reality TV, all of those things, we were taken in by other people's emotions. Even though reality TV, we realized was just an illusion, was all scripted, right? So that is Neptune Pisces, our favorite influencers, celebrities, all fell from grace. The spiritual gurus that manipulated the situation into something else, all fell from grace. Because the one thing when Neptune goes retrograde, it gives us the truth. The veil is lifted, the rose-tinted glasses are gone, and we see it. The betrayals within love. Pisces is where we compassionately give ourselves to someone else and we sacrifice ourselves. So we would have sacrificed ourselves within our relationships. Whether it was family, friends, we would have become the sacrificial lamb, and later on discovered when the rose-tinted glasses were off, what was this? Psychosis? Yes, and let's talk about that. Mental health became the biggest topic. We all spoke about it. Mental health days, we became very aware of mental health. Neptune Pisces brought that. Pisces is our emotional feelings. It's isolation, it's hospitals, it's rehabilitations, it's prisons. It is all the things we offer us seclusion, and yes, mental health facilities. How do we cope in the world? What do we do to escape? Drugs, Pisces is where we do the things that we do to escape reality, whether that's food addiction, shopping addiction, relationship and love addiction, or whether that's drugs, alcohol. We would have been very aware and we would have given in more so to the things that we do to escape reality. And that's why television, TV, gaming, entertainment, the things that we do to escape this world, that is Neptune. It offers you that fantasy, that escape. Our procrastination would have gotten worse because there were so many things entertaining us that we'd be taken up by everything. And let's talk about health. Healthcare, right? We all remember the 2020, that influence. See, Neptune also has an influence to infections. Pisces rules the lymphatic system in the body. Your lymphatic system is connected to your blood and your immunity, the glands within your body. Yes, we became very aware of health, and we would have seen how our healthcare was failing. As Neptune is about to leave Pisces, we're very aware of how healthcare is failing. We're looking at religion, spirituality, and everything very differently. We are wanting to trust what's in our own heart and connect to what we feel most aligned to. Not what anyone else is telling us to do, but what we feel. Not what Zara's telling me to do or Tom next door, but what I feel spiritually connected to. Whether that's a church, whether that's a temple, whether that is a spiritual retreat, you are doing what's most in alignment to you. But we saw the rise of spirituality, and a lot of people went through what we call spiritual awakenings during this time, where they realized things were not as they seemed. Yes, churches, organizations, temples, mosques, all, whatever religion you are, at some point would have went through a point with Neptune and Pisces where the mask is revealed, and dropped. The mask is then we see it, and now it's dropped, and we have to see the truth of it. So we all went through this deep and profound spiritual enlightenment experience, because that's what Neptune does. Whether it did it through your faith was tested through religion, spirituality, or whether it was tested through love and relationships, and you were sacrificing yourself, whether it was through your mental health, addictions, whether it was, the deceptions you believed, wolves in sheep's clothing, because that's the energy of Neptune and Pisces. We all had to face that. It was the most emotional, transformative experience, as it dissolved the boundaries and realities of our lives. And if you look back and ask yourself the most important question, where was I in 2011 and where am I today? It would be a whole new reality. Because when I think about it, there were so many things I had to wake up to the truth about, whether it was people, scenarios where I lacked boundaries. Neptune is very good to show you where you lack boundaries, where you don't have any boundaries with other people, and this becomes a situation where people are taking advantage of you, with who's deceiving you, manipulating you, emotional gaslighting. Let's talk about how much we talk about gaslighting now, and narcissists, right? That is like the most famous word ever, all over the internet, and the rise of the internet, and more entertainment. So much. And yet we feel like we lost a part of ourselves. And hence Neptune in Aries is coming to ask you to reclaim you. That's what it is coming to do. Neptune Aries is a spiritual warrior energy. Very different to Neptune and Pisces, right? It's more focused on self, and not I'm focusing on everybody in my whole collective, because Pisces is the collective, and we're not focused on ourselves, we're focused on everything that is around us. And this is our last row, like hoorah with it. This is our finale. This is where we are going to come up with what we're still holding on from way back when, in the past 14 years, 2011, who are we still believing and who's deceiving us? What are we still holding on to that isn't real? Where do we lack boundaries? What still needs to be dissolved out of our lives? What career, job, illusion do we have about ourselves that needs to be removed and cleansed, so that we can truly tap into our soul and who we want to be and move forward? So that's what Neptune and Pisces is coming in. It's going to be karmic, it's going to be heavy, it's going to be emotional. We are closing out a planet here that is very transformative in terms of you lose everything to find yourself. And depending on on your chart is how it will influence you and how much you're willing to let go and surrender to the unknown, because Pisces is the unknown, and that it shows you that you don't know anything. As much as you think you know very little, because Pisces is the unknown. It's what we can't see, right? It's the realm that's not our physical realm, but the realm that is the higher realm. The last time Neptune was in Aries was 1861 until 1875. Neptune was in Aries in 2025. We've experienced it. Now Neptune will return back to Aries 26 January 2026, where it will remain until 2039. Neptune Aries is the spiritual warrior. The last time we had Neptune Aries in history, we had the American Civil War, we had the New York Exchange, so there was an evolution in finances. In London, the invention of the tube. We also had electricity. This is when electricity was coming about. This is when we were, and it's so Neptune in Aries. Aries is a fire sign. It is a cardinal sign. It's where we want to lead. So the one thing I can definitely say with Neptune and Aries is we get a strong feeling for a spiritual warrior, focus on self. This is not going to be like it's not going to be the energy anymore. Like with Neptune and Pisces, we're very much aware of people's emotional capacity, and we would give people room, like, oh, that person is going through so much. I need to be understanding, We'd want to think about walking in their shoes. And this can be good to a certain extent, but to some extent, it can come to a point where now we are waiting on someone to change and we're just understanding their whole plight, right? And they're taking 10 years and we're still waiting for them to change. That's Neptune Pisces. It's like, I have so much of compassion for you. I understand where you've been, your struggle. You treat people a certain way because of your past. Pisces is the past. Neptune Aries is very different. It's revolution. It's personal revolution. It's my identity. So I'm going to look, I know that two people that lived through similar experiences, and you handling it this way and that person's handling it that way, you need to do what you need to do to get where you need to be. Neptune Aries is not so much about feeling sorry for people. It's more about compassion for yourself. Having compassion for yourself to the point that you're willing to change the situation, because Aries is a cardinal sign. It will seek a way to change a situation. So showing compassion to where you've been, your struggle, your journey, your experience, and then making the point of wanting to change. We can have, yes, I know the American Civil War happened during this time, and that is all about war, and people get very frightened by war, but Aries is a spiritual warrior, and maybe we need that. We need that to stand up for ourselves in your personal life, to stand up for the injustice that you endure, to have those boundaries, to still focus on us, while having compassion, but focusing on us. This is where we are going to see the truth a lot about who's fake and who's real and who's, especially. Because Neptune's going to show us like that person's so fake, that person is being deceptive, manipulative. This is where the mask drops now on you as a person. Okay? Aries is self. You might even become very aware of where you deceive, where you manipulate. I feel like with Neptune Pisces, we were easily taken in by the entertainment of the stories of other people around us, in love and in every single situation. Neptune Aries is more self-involved. This is your healing journey. This is where you need to see where you are lying to yourself in certain situations. So in emotional capacity, that is what we are doing, but you're going to be willing to change. But what I love about this is where we're going to see geniuses be born. This is where we're going to come up with new ideas, right? This is the era of the genius. This is the era of the spiritual warrior. This is the energy of motivator. This is where you can have a dream, but you are motivated by yourself to get there. You are taking the action. You are born to lead. You are feeling inspired. Aries is that inspiration. Aries is when we are gifted the ideas. Taurus is when you take the ideas and make it into something, into reality. But Neptune in Aries is when we are gifted these genius light bulb ideas. That was when the starting point of electricity came about. It gives us that, it gives us this thing about what we can do for our world through the changes that we make. We start looking at ourselves in the mirror. And you can't change the world, but you can change you. And when you start with you, that's all that matters. Improving yourself. And I feel like we can really step up into our power this time around. We can see what's right and what's wrong, and we really are standing on what we feel is authentic to ourselves. Aries is about you. Aries is it's you, right? It's not about everybody else. Pisces is where we get lost in everyone else, where we, Pisces itself dissolves boundaries. Aries has those boundaries. Neptune might be here trying to show you, hey, where you need to hold them, and where maybe you let them slip, and maybe that's causing a little bit of a problem. But you're not afraid to fight for what's right. And I love that. Aries, you have been through Neptune and Pisces since 2011. You got to break this year. Neptune entered into your sign. Now you are closing out a cycle that you started way back when, 14 years ago. It's huge. It's powerful. It's transformative. This is healing. It's closure. It's walking away. This is endings. This is surrender. This is you dissolving things within your life. And you're going to be experiencing this until January 2026 with Neptune in Pisces. Neptune will go direct 10th of December. And it's going to really be offering you this whole vision that you have for your life. But you're going to have to be willing to surrender, to release, and let go. Secrets will be revealed. Truth will be revealed to you. Hidden enemies will come to the surface. This is karmic. And if you haven't let go, like you didn't release anything prior, like you're still holding on to something that's causing you emotional pain. This is like that emotional pain that you carry with you and you're not letting go of. Now is the time where you can't hold on anymore, and you gotta. Neptune is going to bring you to a point of where you got to do it. Saturn's also in Pisces. It's definitely influencing you and taking care of you. You'll be very aware of anything you subconsciously do to sabotage yourself, whether that's procrastination, the ways that you choose to escape this reality through procrastination, shopping, entertainment, yes, scrolling through social media, as well as drugs, alcohol. All of those things you do to sabotage yourself will be coming to the surface for you to like break free from those habits. This is the best time to quit a bad habit. Like to be done with a bad habit, now is the moment in time. Your fears, all of your fears will surface now. This is the area of the things that we, afraid of. It's our subconscious, and you're going to be tapped into that. The gift of this energy, spiritually, you'll be very in tune. You'll be trusting your intuition more. You'll be leading yourself in a spiritual journey towards your healing. And this is also a time of trust, surrender. It's also a time of isolation as you step up into your new era that will start in January of 2026 until 2039 with Neptune in Aries. Pivotal, powerful, potent. This energy is yours. Step up into your power. End anything that you want to end. You'll be very aware of what you've been carrying for far too long. This is stuff from the past, way back when. Some of the stuff might be stuff from childhood that you're holding on to that is keeping you stuck from your success. Let it go, Aries, and embrace your new era. Taurus, I want you to think back to 2011, 2012, when Neptune entered into Pisces. Your social dynamics would have changed in your life. The friend group, the family group, the work group, the people that you choose to associate with via choice. You would have noticed those people fall away. Maybe you were living with a group of people and it fell away, family, whether it is friends, all would have fell away. The people that you're friends with today are not the same people. You are going to have to be very discerning now, because if you haven't been prior, this is the moment in time with Neptune and Pisces is going to show you the truth about the people that you surround yourself, the people that you collaborate with, network with. There would have been no boundaries. Boundaries would have been dissolved. If you were in a work situation and you're to be part of a team, boundaries are dissolved. It almost feels like you're taking on more of the burden than anyone else. You're the one that has to lead and everybody else is just doing their own thing. Everyone's lost and confused. Confusion within the group. Confusion about what's real and what's not and who you can trust. This would have also broken your dreams because Neptune would have showed you in Pisces where you had dreams that were, you know, not in alignment to your truth, and you would have had to let go of certain dreams of what you wanted for your future. This was asking you to release and let go of, you know, dreams that weren't real, okay, fantasies that you were holding on to but weren't part of your alignment. You had to let go of social dynamics. You would have been betrayed by friends. This is where you would have been betrayed by friends or anyone that you choose to associate with via choice, online and in person. All of your associations. You might even not have felt the support from your community that you truly wanted. Your community, your people, your tribe. You had to search for a new tribe. Like align yourself to people that shared your values. And if you did that, you would have felt like at home. Now, this is the final push. Anything within your surroundings with the people that you choose to align to that are not in alignment to you, that do not share your values, will fall away, to make room for authenticity in your relationships and yourself so that you can claim your future vision and dream. Comment down below. Let me know your placements, how this is influencing you. What did you experience since 2011? And how has this shattered dreams for you? And how has this also changed your connections since then? Gemini, my heart goes out for you, like really goes out to you. You had this at the very, very, you know, powerful place. It's your career, it's your reputation, it is your goals, your sense of purpose. This would have influenced you with Neptune in Pisces dissolving boundaries around your careers or goals. So if you had a goal or a career or something you wanted to go towards, it would have dissolved it. It would have fallen away. I want you to think back from 2011. Parents, things would have become very confusing with parents. Some of you would have lost parents during this time. And the grief would have been surreal and emotional. Neptune and Pisces, especially when it comes to authorities, elders, you would have felt that. Your reputation would have been taking a hit. People would have been saying all sorts of mistruths about you. People idolized you, and at the same time, they assassinated your character. That's what this is, you know. It's like they idolize you, they are pulled into you, they are projecting who they see onto you, and they're like, oh my goodness. And this is hard because it's your reputation. So, you know, it's how other people are perceiving you in the room, whoever that may be. And now they're coming up with a story of who they think you are. So they're projecting that onto you. Get dismayed when you're not that. And then some people were even switching up and really truly making up false narratives about who you are. You would have seen a lot of this play out, you know, when it came to your reputation as a whole, and you would have seen this influence your career, authority figures. You and authority figures like an employer, a boss, an elder, or anybody in authority, even a government organization, which is an authority figure. You know, if you had to do anything with the government, there would have been, you know, hopelessness and having to have hope and surrender. The only way through with your situation was for you to trust and surrender. If something fell through when it came to your career, trust and surrender in a higher power to, you know, to show you the light of the direction that you're going to go in. Now, this is the final of Neptune and Pisces, and it's going to gift you something, most definitely in terms of a vision that you have for your career, as long as it's authentic. And if you're still holding on to any career or path or what you see your legacy as, or, you know, giving into allowing people to believe what they believe when it comes to your reputation, you know, this is where you're going to see that stress of it needing to fall away in terms of career. Like if that career is false for who you are, it'll fall away. If you are allowing other people to believe like the false narratives, if you're playing that role for them for whatever reason, that will fall away as well. This is going to make you the most authentic person, the brilliant leader, and have foresight, and so that you can step up into leadership roles. You will get the opportunities that you've dreamed of. But the first thing you need to do is like, hey, is there anything I'm holding on to in terms of goals, my career, my objectives, and what I want that are not in alignment to who I am and what I truly desire? This is your success. Okay, it's your success. This is your ladder to success. So anything false would have dissolved. Anything real would stay. And the more you trust and surrender, the more success you would have. Cancer, since 2011, you've been on a journey with Neptune and Pisces. This would have been a hard one for you because it would have brought some legal battles and truths being revealed. This is the area of truths that sometimes come with some legal implications, okay? And you'd have to set yourself free from that. Yes, this is freedom. You'd be very aware of the situations that bind your freedom. You'd have also had to find where you aligned to your personal inner truth and philosophy. False philosophies, if you belong to a religious organization, it would have dissolved, especially if it was false. It didn't hold true for you. You would have been taken on a deep spiritual journey. This is boundless energy. This is freedom. This is where you were asked to even travel, higher education, given to spiritual pursuits, trust your intuition, given to creativity, art. You would have explored art and creativity like nobody's business. You would have to set yourself free from anything that was trying to keep you captive, whether it's a relationship, a job. You had to find your freedom within. You had to find the sense of like adventure. This was really setting you up for adventure and to really give into philosophies that were true from you. A lot of you had to let go of religions. I've seen this with Cancers. When it came to religious organizations or faiths or philosophies or spiritual gurus that were false. I've seen a lot of Cancers also explore having to see the truth about relationships in love, especially, which also had legal implications. So that's where the truth is revealed, the higher truth, and you had to still maintain the big picture. Cancer, you were asked to do a lot, maintaining the big picture, especially if it's a divorce and you're seeing the truth and there's, children, family involved, and you having to see the big picture and still have the boundaries, but still maintain the big picture for everyone. This challenged you. You were also challenged when it came to traditions when it came to family and what they meant to you. And how do you want to, invent new ones? How do you want to find freedom within those traditions? So a lot of you broke free from family traditions as well, because this is the area of tradition. This is the area of what we, religion, philosophy, truth, personal truth, and you are seeking personal truth. Now you're coming to a point where if you haven't found that personal truth, you're going to get more truth needing to be revealed so you can find that personal truth that sets you free. Okay? And a lot of you are going to decide, like, I want to move, I want to travel, I want an adventure. And it's going to gift you wild adventures, wild opportunities for your spirit to grow and to get involved in spiritual matters that are meaningful to you. This is your spiritual journey, and that's what you're doing. Comment down below your placements, how this is influencing you, what you experienced, and how Neptune dissolved the boundaries in your spiritual experiences. I'd love to hear that as well. But comment down below, I'll respond to you. Leo, this was deeply intense for you with Neptune and Pisces since 2011. This would have taken you on the fantasy of intimacy. Some of you would have had some very, very challenging situations with intimate matters. Yes, this is physical intimacy in the bedroom, emotional intimacy. Some of you would have also had to seek some form of counseling, therapy, life coaching, or spiritual intervention during this time, because this was touching on your psychology, intimacy, relationships, deceptions, manipulations, emotional entanglements. There would have been a draining of energy, and you had to set yourself free from relationships that were draining you emotionally. These are the people that you were intimate with, physically intimate with, yes, in the bedroom, and emotionally intimate with, where you share your vulnerabilities with and had to deal with betrayal. A lot of betrayal was dealt with by Leos. A lot of hurt, pain. People you thought you could trust broke that trust time and time again. It was heavy. And also financially, this could have also influenced you on the most challenging situations when it came to shared resources, banks, loans, debts, taxes, inheritances, losses, and yes, even physical death. Loss of a loved one would have brought a lot of grief and truth being revealed about how people really feel when you lose a loved one, like the people around. So if it was a family member, there could have been a lot of issues and truths being revealed about family. This was a dark night of the soul moment, and it was clearing out the old. This was, you finding your power through spiritual understanding, your own spiritual energy, your empowerment as well. Now you're closing out that cycle. This is the finale. So yes, if there's anything you're holding on to, now's the time to clear it out. If there's any intimate relationships that are deceptive, manipulative, draining your energy physically or emotionally. So if you have a best friend and you've been sharing yourself vulnerable with that person, you would have felt a betrayal, or a sister, someone that you feel you can emotionally cry to, you emotionally can open up to. There would have been betrayals, losses. And shared resources would have been a challenging situation, because Neptune creates confusion when it comes to your financial matters and business partnerships. And yes, this includes a spouse. Now, you would have had to become very strict to gain clarity, very, organized, and you would have had to have boundaries. If you've done that, you've done the work, this final hurrah won't be so hard. But if not, this is the final clearing of your spiritual journey, your awakening and trusting yourself and empowerment, and sending you, on a whole new era of freedom. And you'll be very much aware of that. And with Neptune's final close here, you will be rewarded with clarity over financial matters, intimate matters. You can even see some financial growth coming in. Comment down below your placements. I will respond to you. Look forward to hearing from you. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Virgo, this has been a whole situation. You were dealing with betrayals, losses, grief, pain in your one-on-one relationships since the past 14 years, personally and professionally. This is where the boundaries were dissolved and confusion came in when it came to contracts, deals, negotiations, clients. So if you signed a work contract, you thought you were getting into something and it was going to be great, and then it wasn't. Or you would have trusted that relationship, whether it was a friend, a lover, a partner, a spouse, and you'd realize that relationship wasn't what you thought it was. You were dealing with relationship deceptions, manipulations. You were sacrificed yourself beyond measure in your relationships. Neptune and Pisces brings that, where you sacrifice yourself, you give chances, you hope for the best. You hope for the best when it comes to that work contract or that job you have. You hope for the best when it comes to that friend or that client or that spouse. And Neptune and Pisces would have kept on showing you that you need to choose you need to step into your power. You need to be brave, strong, and have boundaries. And if you did the work and you saw the truth and you set yourself free from all relationships that deceived you and manipulated you over the past 14 years, since 2011, you would have now seen, hey, I need to choose me, trust my gut, and not give into the false narratives when it comes to relationships. Not give into fantasy, not give into the dream of the perfect relationship without it showing that it is that relationship that is a give and take with shared value between us, and it's balanced. Okay, whether it's personal or professional. Okay, because Neptune was opposite you, so it created confusion on all your relationships. The moment someone said opposite you, they were influenced by this energy, and so were you. And you would have seen like all these false energies coming to you, scammers, liars, deceivers. Maybe you bought that car and you thought it was a great car. Next thing you realize the car is falling apart. It's a contract. Anytime contracts or relationships were involved, or you trusted a friend and a friend betrayed you, trusted a lover and they betrayed you, trusted a spouse and they betrayed you, this was the energy. You had to see the truth and set yourself free. You had to trust your intuition when it came to relationships, not the fantasy people were creating around you. So now, last hurrah, this is where you gain the clarity. This is like, if you haven't set yourself free from that relationship that is not true to you, you set yourself free. Whether it's a friend, a contract, a work opportunity, you do that. And you really move forward to what is more in alignment to you. And if you have done the work, this is where you can meet and connect to souls that are more aligned to you, that are truthful and on the same level as you. Comment down below. Let me know your experience since the past 14 years. Let me know what you're looking forward to. I'd love to hear from you, and I'll respond to you in the comments. Libra, you were dealing with confusion when it came to your work, your health and routine. So a lot of you, your careers would have been dissolved. Like if you had a job that you really wanted and you're working there, it would have come to an end over the past 14 years. This was transforming your career to trust, surrender in the dream of a better career opportunity, a better job that's available to you. This would have also influenced your health on a mental and emotional level. It's like you would have sacrificed yourself more for others. This is where you are of service. Next thing you notice, you're saying yes to everybody. And already you're a Libra, so you do naturally want to please people. But with Neptune and Pisces in the area of self-sacrifice for other people, doing services for other people, you would have noticed you were giving all your time and energy away to other people. And you would have to learn to maintain boundaries. That's what it's teaching you, that these boundaries, you need to maintain them. Otherwise, you're going to be burnt out on a mental, emotional, physical level. So you'd have sacrificed yourself for other people. When it came to your routine, if someone asked for a favor, you'd be like, yes. If your partner said, hey, I'm going through a hard time, can you support me? You'd be like, yes, financially, I'm there for you. This was dissolving the areas of service and your power when it comes to yourself and your work life. It would have been so hard to keep a work routine. It would have been so hard to focus on work, to get projects done. You'd really have to really hold yourself accountable, come up with a to-do list and stick by it to get things done. This would have made you procrastinate, watch TV, do other things. And you would notice that time was slipping away. But the moment you focused and put your, focus mode on, you'd have noticed you'd have got more things done and you would have been able to succeed. And a lot of you would have also been able to secure that dream job, especially if you surrendered to jobs that were not aligned to you. Health. Confusion around your health, like you would get unpredictable health issues and situations. This was the area of physical health. You'd just be exhausted, get sick often, be more susceptible to infections and illnesses. Your health with Neptune and Pisces, there would have been so much confusion. They'd run blood tests. They would think, oh no, it's not that great. And then the next thing, things turn around. This influenced your health. Or maybe people didn't see that you were sick for a long time. And then all of a sudden they discover you're sick. It would have created illusions, fantasies around your health. So people wouldn't see it. And the next thing, it's too late. Or when they do, get the answers for it, they're still confused about it. A lot of confusion around health, and it would have also influenced your health in terms of the fact that you just would have been sick more. You'd have to maintain your pace when it comes to your to-do list and what you need to do when it comes to your health. Neptune's now for the final chapter in Pisces. So, of these next couple of months. So this is teaching about boundaries, being organized, stop procrastinating, and really focus on your health and now push yourself towards burnout. Important. Maintain balance and you will reap the rewards. If not, and you're still giving in to like, yes, I can do everything for everybody. Yes, I can help that co-worker. Oh, and this would have created a lot of confusion when it came to co-workers. Yes, people at work would have not had your back, as well as this would have created a lot of hidden enemies. Hidden enemies would have been coming outside of to get you. You'd just be surprised where people had in for you all of a sudden. Neptune and Pisces would have definitely brought a lot of hidden enemies to you, and also a lot of hidden enemies at work. This brings a lot of that energy towards you. Boundaries were necessary and you need to step into your power. You're finally closing this chapter, and with that closing of this chapter, boundaries are necessary, maintaining that routine, and if any hidden enemies come to the surface, you know what to do. Say goodbye as you enter into a whole new era. Scorpio, Neptune and Pisces would have created a lot of manipulation, deception, illusions when it came to dating and your romantic life. Romance would have been a place where you didn't know what was going on and you'd have to see the truth being revealed. And you're very perceptive. Scorpios know what it is. They have this feeling, they know what's what. But there would have been some people, because Neptune creates like the siren call allure in your romantic life, that you would have just given in to their romantic experience. And then you would be like, oh my goodness, what a fantasy that was. It was so not real. And the truth would have been revealed. Some of you would have even felt like you just didn't want to date. Neptune Pisces is like, I'm isolated from dating because I do not trust any of these people. And you would experience this over the past 14 years, this whole thing of having to trust your intuition when it came to dating your romantic partners and having these romantic, connections that sometimes just fell away and boundaries were necessary. There would have also been some confusion when it came to children, custody issues, paternity issues, having to find paternity in certain situations particularly, as well as when it came to children, you would have also had to deal with matters of their health and wellness, right? Having to find out what's going on with how they are feeling mentally, emotionally, and physically for you. This would have brought that up, and having to trust in a higher power when it comes to the healing of your children. Some of you, this would have brought a lot of emotional grief in romance, as well as grief when it came to children and what you were experiencing. This was grief. Neptune is where we feel like we're losing control or we've lost control and we need to surrender to a higher power, and it's so challenging. Neptune is hard, but it's, Neptune is not of this world. It's a spiritual energy. It's about trusting in what we can't see and trusting the message behind everything. If you'd given in too much to your fun times, because this is where we can gamble a lot, so maybe you over gambled, right? Took a high risk. Even if you're an entrepreneur, maybe you were being too risky and you would have incurred losses. Neptune would have taught you that. Now Neptune's finally entering back into Pisces for the last time. So if you haven't defined those boundaries in romance, if this would create that in energy where you have to now really be real with yourself when it comes to what you want romantically and see the truth about relationships, defining the boundaries with partners when it comes to children, dealing with matters of healing with children, although there'll be answers now as Neptune is going to be leaving Pisces, and also dealing with what makes you happy. This is also the area of joy. So having to trust your joy, your happiness. A lot of you would have given in solely into creative ideas, creative pursuits, including hobbies. So if your hobbies was riding bikes, guess what? You would have given into that. That would have set you free. But it's definitely about you trusting what makes you happy here and like really embracing what joy is, tapping into your spiritual power. Comment your placements down below and how this influenced you and what are you experiencing. Sagittarius, you went through it. Neptune and Pisces over the past 14 years was creating losses when it came to family ties, deceptions, manipulations within family, and not just only family. Anyone you emotionally came close to. This is your heart and your emotional well-being. So anyone that you allowed into your heart or felt comfortable with or felt safe with, this is where you had to deal with the betrayal and losses. So family and people you felt safe with, people you felt nurtured by could have betrayed you, hurt you, manipulated you, or asked you to sacrifice yourself on their accord. This would have been challenging. Truths would have been revealed within family as well when it came to family ties and family situations. A lot of you would have faced deep emotional crises and maybe even sought emotional help, whether that is a counselor, therapist, life coach, astrologer. A lot of you would have delved deep into spiritual aspects with this as well, tapping into your spirituality, whether that is religion, whether that is tapping into chakras or energetic work or giving into Buddhism. It would have tapped you into what rooted you, and you were seeking ways to root you in spirituality. You would have also looked at your family ties and traditions, and you would have seen where it's not fitting and working for you, and maybe even broke free from that. A lot of you would have dealt with emotional isolation. And when it came to your physical abode and home life, a lot of you would have felt your home and family life falling away. Like no security. Maybe the bills are not paid. Maybe you need to move out. Maybe the home needs to be sold. This could have created that whole stress and tension there, especially with family in terms of finances and your career, because opposite is your career. So if your family and home is not feeling safe, you'd ask yourself, what do you need to do in your career in order to create that security? This would have also created the energy for you to move away from home. So think of the past 14 years. A lot of you would have decided to travel away from home, move away from home. Maybe some of you traveled to foreign lands. Maybe some of you just moved to the next state or city. But they would have been where you are making this journey away from families to rediscover yourself and your own emotional well-being. You would have seen and felt the emotions of your family very heavily, as well as family losses and family pain. Neptune dissolves things. So there can be loss, grief, pain, and where you are choosing your own emotional healing journey and really focusing on what fulfills your own heart. Now Neptune is coming back into Pisces, and it's going to be showing you more truth, especially if there's things you haven't faced emotionally within your own heart, as well as when it comes to family and loved ones, anyone you love. You'd have to see that. And if you've had those healthy boundaries with family because you needed to implement boundaries, space, and this is what I need emotionally for me, then you'd be fine. But if not, this is where you'd be very aware that those boundaries are very necessary. The truths will be revealed. And this is also where you can really create your home to be your sanctuary. So you might even decide hey, I'm moving away from home, and I want my home to be a sanctuary, a place that rejuvenates my soul. That's what this is giving to you, to come into your placements. Let me know what you experience, what losses you incurred when it came to your physical home, within your family and loved ones. How did this energy influence you? What deceptions and manipulations did you deal with people you got emotionally close to and felt comfortable with? Capricorn, you were dealing with gossip, manipulation, lies, and deceptions. If you signed contracts, it probably wasn't what you thought it was going to be since 2011. There could have also been some issues and tensions and confusions around relatives and family. And there could have also been a lot of gossip coming from this area of life, including neighbors. So within your environment, everybody wanted to talk about you. You were the talk of the town. So a lot of gossip, misunderstandings. You'd say something, people would take your words, switch it around, make it something else. This created a lot of loss when it came to people that you communicate with. Things would have been very confusing when it came to communications, deceptions, manipulations, because this is your mind and communication. You really need to seek some sort of mental rest when it came to your mind, and spiritually you would have needed to evolve, go on a spiritual practice meditation, breath work, because you could have suffered with some anxiety, stress, and tension mentally. Some of you would have even given to intoxication to take the edge off your mind at times, and how much you were concerned by everything that was going on around you. Your environment and the people you surrounded yourself with would have become very overwhelming. Some of you would have even taken up jobs in spiritual practices. Maybe you worked at a crystal shop, or you worked in a spiritual retreat, or decided to create a spiritual retreat in order to find ways to bring peace to your life, or got involved in going to spiritual retreats. This would have also created travel for you and opportunities to travel. And this would have been good for you, right? But the gossip, the manipulation, the confusion, and just your conversations, one minute you trust someone and it goes completely sideways because this was your communication was awful. It was great for you to take up writing, especially writing when it came to creativity. You would have been gifted genius ideas as long as you trusted your intuition. And contracts. Those are other things that were being confusing. You might have signed something, thought you were getting something, but it was just not the ideal contract, especially over these past 14 years, whether it was a house, a loan, maybe the repayment was too much, confusion around contracts. Now Neptune is finally closing its cycle in Pisces, which is great. If you put the boundaries when it came to communication, if you spoke your truth clearly, right? And so that no one could twist your words, but trust me, people will still try to do that. But this was just about your truth. And sometimes speaking your truth means not giving a damn what other people say or think. This is your truth. They can twist it, they can rewrite it, but it's your truth. You said it, right? Some of you would have even got so good, you would have kept receipts and everything because how people were just confusing things so much around you. But you're finally closing the cycle, and it's going to reward you with, trusting your intuition when it comes to what you say and what others say, and use your voice to express yourself truthfully and not care so much what other people think about what you say and how you express yourself. Comment your placements down below and I'll respond to you. Aquarius, this would have created a lot of confusion around money, your money particularly. This is where you could have lent money to someone and that person would be I'm going to pay you back, and then they don't. You'd have dealt with a lot of scams when it came to your finances. Maybe you applied for that job and thought you were going to get paid X, Y, and Z, and you didn't. Maybe you thought you were going to receive more finances and you didn't. Maybe money is still owed to you. And you could reap the rewards for it when Neptune goes direct and ends and leaves Pisces in January of 2026. Neptune go direct 10th of December, but it'll leave Pisces January of 2026. So you would have dealt with a lot of confusion around money. And your money particularly, either you signed that contract for that job, thought you were going to earn this amount, and you didn't. You would have probably given money to people, thought they're going to pay you back, and they didn't. You would have thought you had this amount of money in the bank account, you didn't. There could have been unexpected expenses, things you need to buy. Maybe you bought something and you thought, oh, this thing is great, and then next thing you realize it's worthless, right? Neptune is confusion, and in Pisces, it's where we think things are a certain way and they're not that way. We think it looks this way, we see the illusion of it, and it's not that way at all. There would have been a lot of ups and downs within your money. You had to trust and surrender when it came to financial matters. This is where you could have even spent money on, like, emotional support, whether that was a counselor, a therapist, or, even giving money away to charity. You would have done that as well during this time, which is good for you. That would have released some negative energy of this, right? Releasing in karma. Charity is good deeds that we do, and it's good for our soul. So this was you having to gain control over your money, your income, what you're earning, your skills and talents, and your sense of self-worth. You would have been seeing around you people devaluing you, making you feel worthless, like you're worth nothing, underappreciating you, whether that's at work or within family or friends, and you'd have to set the boundaries. This was just trying to shape you into seeing yourself as spiritually worthy, as you're a divine soul, and you had to do that. Now Neptune's going to say goodbye to Pisces. You are going to have to become very clear with your money, your finances, your money in the bank account, and you would also need to trust and surrender. You'd also would have been gifted over this past 14 years opportunities, ideas where you could boost your money through creative ideas and pursuits. And if you followed that, you'd have seen growth through your vision and dream. If not, you have the opportunity to do so. But remember, with Neptune, have boundaries, have a plan. Otherwise, you'll get so confused, things will seem great and they're not. Don't just purchase anything that someone's trying to sell you. Remember, trust is necessary, and you need to trust the people you surround yourself with. If people devalue you, set boundaries. Don't spend time with people who don't see you worthy. It's just going to make you feel worthless. So if they are like always telling you you're not good enough, or making like you are the problem, and you're going to question your worth, like, am I worth anything? I do so much for these people, but they don't appreciate me. Boundaries and walk away. And it's going to show you this over the next couple of months, especially if you haven't put in those boundaries. Comment down below your placements. Let me know how you're experiencing this. Know that you're closing out the cycle, and you will reap a reward financially for this if you trust your intuition and have clear ideas and plans when it comes to your finances. Pisces. 14 years, 2011, when Neptune first entered into Pisces, and this was a shattered reality. This is where you would have encountered the most manipulation, deception from everyone around you. Not just lovers or friends or siblings or relatives or neighbors. Neptune was in your sign, and you would have seen countless of people that you encountered all deceive you, manipulate you, and you would have sacrificed yourself, and you would have tried to show compassion, and you would have tried to heal them and help them, to only realize they're just draining you of your energy. This would have drained you of your energy. This would have pulled everything out of you. This was your entire life, honestly, whether it was your bank account, whether it was a job that you had, your home, your work. It literally was changing your entire life, and every single boundary within your life was being dissolved. This was your grand spiritual awakening. This is where you would have tapped into your spiritual power and had to trust and surrender into the divine to allow things to fall into place. And the more you resisted that, the harder the lesson got. Okay? The truth bombs came. The walls of what you thought was secure, whether it was financial or your home, your living situation, all fell away. The only thing you could trust in was a higher power to get you through. A lot of you would have even had to see where you sabotage yourself, where you give in to your addictions, your pastimes, your entertainment, where you procrastinate, where you tell yourself you're not good enough, where you tell yourself the lies and stories. Neptune is about stories and false stories, and the stories we tell ourselves to entertain ourselves. You could have met people and fallen in love, and only to find out they're not who they say they are. People would have met you and fallen in love with you with Neptune in your sign. They would have just been called to you, drawn to your allure, because Neptune is that siren allure. It's like a call, and they would have projected on you who they thought you were, only to not really know you at all. In so many levels, you've grown and evolved, and this was your big spiritual awakening and journey. Finally, Neptune's going to say goodbye to Pisces. If you haven't done the work and you haven't set those boundaries or walked away from people that have been false or found who you authentically are, this is the last call for you to do so. And if you have, you'll reap the rewards of all the goals and dreams that you want coming to fruition when Neptune leaves Pisces, January of 2026. But this really broke you in many ways, and you faced many trials and tribulations over the past 14 years and went through many losses. This is the final call to show you, hey, what is fake or false in your life? Is it that job that you think you need to be who they want you to be? That will fall away. Is it that relationship? Is it that family? Is it where you live? All of it's going to change, and this is a whole new era for you as you step into your most empowered self and gain control over what you want and be authentic. All the masks that you wear to when it came to people to ease their pain and suffering will fall, and now you're going to be the most authentic version of yourself. This is not what other people want you to be. This is not what other people project onto you. You're done. You're done with that. You want people who truly see you, the real you, to be in your life. Comment your placements down below and I will respond to you. Let me know how you experience Neptune in Pisces, as it would have influenced your chart very differently given your placements.